So it's been about a year since we got Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and since it's nearly getting to that decade point, I've been really curious about if Game Freak and Nintendo will ever think about releasing another game for Gen 3. It's one of the most beloved generations, and some fans will even argue it's the GOAT of the Pokemon games. So in this video, I'll be talking about the possibilities of us getting another Gen 3 Pokemon game. Before we get into the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers next month, so let's make this milestone happen. Alright, if you keep up with Pokemon, then you know the Generation 3 games we got back then weren't really true makes of the games from 2004. So surely Nintendo eventually makes true remakes of them, because they usually do make true remakes of the old Pokemon games. We can look back at both the Generation 1 remakes. Now I do understand that the Let's Go games had a different catching mechanic, but nonetheless they were a true remake. The Let's Go games were pretty terrible and most fans just didn't enjoy them at all.
That is one big pile of shit.
But LeafGreen and FireRed are considered peak games of the franchise, and I consider them to be part of the Pokemon Mount Rushmore, especially since they're some of the most challenging games in the series, and so are the Generation 3 games. We can also look back to the Soul Silver and Heart Gold remakes, which of course are true remakes and great games in the franchise that everyone loves. And lastly, the Gen 4 remakes. Now I do understand this is an underrated take, but I really loved Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I also did grow up playing Sinnoh, so I might be a little biased towards those games. But anyways, Pokemon always usually makes true remakes of the games, and we just haven't gotten one for one of the best generations in the series. I thought that maybe they wouldn't, because I thought we'd maybe get the older Pokemon games on the online services. Wrong. But that doesn't seem to be the case, because it's been a long time since the service came out, and we have no sign the OG Pokemon games come into those services. I also guess that they could honestly just port over the Generation 3 games to the Switch, but Nintendo has never done that with the Pokemon games. I don't know if the Game Freak and Nintendo just want to keep the Gen 3 games rare or something, since you can only buy them on resale on eBay. Honestly, you would think that Game Freak and Nintendo would realize how much money they're missing out on by not remaking these games, since a lot of fans who haven't played them, or older fans who just want a new copy to play, spend hundreds of dollars on them on eBay. The supply and demand of the Gen 3 games are outrageous, and Nintendo should just capitalize on the demand. Another solution that fans have resulted to are emulators, which is exactly what I did too, because no one should have to spend hundreds on these masterpieces of games, and having to buy a whole Game Boy Advance to even play them is just insane. You serious? Well, that's my little rant over the Gen 3 games. I really hope Nintendo and Game Freak stir up a new game pretty soon. I guess we'll know what happens whenever we see the Pokemon Presents in about 10 days from when I'm writing the script. There's a ton of games the Game Freak just needs to work on. I don't mind waiting a little longer for a brand new Gen 3 games, since we are due to get a Gen 5 or 2 remake pretty soon, and we've had to wait longer for those games to finally get new content. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed, and peace out.